Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel DS Tech Mirror. Topic for today's video is SharePoint Framework extensions. All this while we have covered SharePoint Framework web part. From today we are starting with the extensions. There are three types of extension. So in this video we will be covering application customizer extensions. I will start with the very basic concept, that is introduction to the extensions. What are SharePoint Framework extensions? SharePoint Framework, as I told you earlier, come in three categories: SharePoint Framework Web Parts, SharePoint Framework Extensions, and SharePoint Framework Library. Now, Web Part. With the help of Web Part, we are creating a custom functionality, that we are creating client-side web parts. It falls under creating custom functionality. Now, what if I need some header and footer in my SharePoint page? What if I need some custom actions? Then all these things are covered by SharePoint Framework extensions, and they are coming in three categories. So today we will see application customizer extensions. As of now, as of today, with the help of application customizer extension, we can create header and footer in our SharePoint page. So over here, as this explanation is written, we can use SPFX extension to extend the SharePoint user experience. With SPFX extension, we can customize the user experience for modern pages and modern lists and libraries. It means it is used to customize the user experience. Using SPFX extension, we can customize notification area, toolbar area, and list data views. Now this line is covering all the three extensions, that is notification area, toolbar area, and list data views. But as of today's video, we will be covering only header and footer. Now there are three types of extension: application customizer, field customizer, and command set. With the help of application customizer, we can add script to the page, custom header, and custom footer. So these are the three things which we can achieve using application customizer. If I want to add any script to the page, I can use application customizer. If I want to create a custom header, I will be choosing application customizer, and same for the footer. Then comes the field customizer. If I want to customize the views within a list, that is, I want to present my SharePoint list view in a customizable way, I will go with the field customizer. So now it is what it is doing. It is enhancing my user experience. It is extending the SharePoint user experience. Then comes the command set. Create new commands and extension. With the help of command set, we can create new commands in the ribbon. It is used, basically you can understand, it is used to create custom actions. We can create some commands. We can create some command under ECB menu. So all these things will be covered by command set. So I will be covering all the three extensions in three separate videos, and there will be again three different videos for demo of each customizer. So the agenda for the today video will be create application customizer, how we can create code application customizer. We will understand the basic code which comes by default with the application customizer, and we will understand the few basic concepts of the application customizer. Debug application customizer, how we can debug the application customizer, deployment process, and hosting from CDN. So basically these are the five different topics about application customizer which we will cover in today's video. In my next video, I will cover the demo of the application customizer. So let's start with the first thing, that is how we can create the application customizer. So to create an application customizer, I have come to the location where I want to create. So what I will do, just copy your location. I will copy my location from here, Control C. Go to command prompt. This is my command prompt. Change directory, and Control V. Next, what I have to do, I have to type a command yo@Microsoft/SharePoint. I'm assuming that you have already set up your SharePoint framework environment. If you have not set up yet, you can refer my part 1 of this tutorial series, SharePoint framework. In the part 1, I have explained how you can set up the SPFX environment. So after this, I will press enter. It is taking some time. Now you can see it is showing us some options over here. So it is asking us what is your application name. Then it is asking which baseline packages do you want to target. So I have used SharePoint Online. Press enter. Use the current folder, or create a subfolder. I want to use the current folder. Press enter. Then do you want to allow tenant admin the choice of being able to deploy the solution? By this line it is asking whether you want your solution to get deployed to all the sites collection immediately, whether you want that ability, that permission you want to give to tenant admin. I said no, I do not want to deploy this solution to all this site collection. Also, I am not going to access any web API, so I'll select no for these two options. Then now it is asking me which type of client side component you want to create. I told you there are three types of component: web part, extensions, and library. So this time we want to create the extension, so I will select the extensions. Then application, now it is asking us application customizer, field customizer, or list view command set. So I told you we will create application customizer. Again I will press enter. Now it is asking me what is your application customizer name. So I'll say first application customizer, first application. So let me go with the full name, first application customizer. Then description will remain the same, and then it will take some time to create the application customizer. So this is how we can create the application customizer. I will just explain you again. You have to type a simple command @Microsoft/SharePoint. After that it will ask you the solution name, whether you want to allow tenant admin to deploy to all site collections, whether you want to allow to access any web API. So for this tenant admin and web API, if you are not doing it, just select no. After that it will ask you some basic questions like what type of component you want to develop. You will select extension, and then it will ask you which type of extension you want to develop. The moment you will select application customizer, it will start creating a project. Now we'll wait for some time. It will create a project, and then we'll go ahead. So we have covered our first part, that is create application customizer. So this is how we can create our application customizer. Next we will see code application customizer. We will go through the application customizer. So whatever the code which will come by default with this application customizer, we will try to understand that code. We will try to understand the solution structure also. Although I have already explained the solution structure of the SharePoint framework web part in my existing video, so more or less the solution structure will be the same. There will be some few changes, so I will cover that. So friends, now our solution is ready. Now what we will do as a next step, I will open this solution in my Visual Studio Code. So over here you can see in the same folder a solution got created. So to open the solution in the Visual Studio Code, simply what I'll do, code space full stop, and I will press enter. So now it will open this solution in my Visual Studio Code. So now you can see our solution is ready. Now we will try to understand this solution. So simply what I will do, I will open this main file, that is my extension file .ts file, and then what I will do, I will explain you this code. Let me open it first.
So guys, this is my TS file. So in this file I will explain you the existing code. So in this file the most important method is this init method. This is the main method. Whenever we will add the extension on any SharePoint page, and whenever a page will load, so for the extension this init method will get triggered first, and from here the entire flow will get started, or will control the entire flow from here. So this is the main method, init method. So above it we can see this class, just like we have the class in the SPFX web part. Over here we have this default class, and it is getting extended from this base application customizer. Over here we were having I think, I don't remember the exact class name, but I think it is base client side web part. So over here we have this class base application customizer, and inside this you can see this property, that is first application customizer, that is your application customizer and property. And over here you can declare your variable, you can declare your property over here, and inside this you can use it. So I will tell you quickly how you can use it. This is the test message, which by default we get this property. So if I want to use this property over here, what I can do, I can simply I have this property object, so this dot properties dot test message DSTaggMirror. So whatever the property which you will declare over here, you can use it with the help of this property object over here. So you can note it. This is one important point, or one important learning which we will use in our extension. So this is the interface, and we are using this interface inside this class. And if we have to use any of this interface property, we can simply use this dot properties dot the property name. So this is our interface, and at the top we have the normal imports, which I think you already know. Whatever the class, whatever the control which I want to use, I have to import it at the top. So this is the simple plain code in this TS file. Over here inside this init method, this is one simple. what is there? We have declared one message and we have used this test message, this dot properties dot test message. We are checking if it is not blank. If it is not blank, then it will give us this dialog and it will display the message whatever is present in this test message. And if it is blank, it will say no properties were provided. This is one point. This is simple code. Now important thing is where we are assigning the value to this property test message over here. So I will declare this one which I created, DS Tech Mirror. So this is the one which by default you will get it. So test message, from where I am assigning this, where I am initializing this property. So before that I will tell you what we are going to do. So we will run this code. So what will happen whenever I will run gulpsar, so this extension will get open, and in the extension on the page load it will see if the message is no value is present in the test message. It will give us a message no properties were provided in the dialog alert. Dialog will be the same which I covered in my last video, that is SPFX form with validations. So if value is present, it will give us hello from string.title and the message. So this is the simple logic. Now to run this code I will run gulpsar. So now gulpsar means the moment I will run gulpsar, over here under this config folder you can see there are few files. The moment I will run gulpsar, serve.json file will come into picture. I have covered this entire folder structure, entire solution structure in my third video of the playlist, that is overview solution structure of the SPFX web part. So solution structure is more or less the same. So in this video I will not cover the solution structure in depth because I have already covered it. You can find the link in the description box, or you can directly go to the video in the playlist. It is third video and you can cover. If you are not aware about the solution structure, you can go through that in that particular video. So let's come back to the gulpsar. The moment I will run gulpsar, this file will come into the picture. All the properties defined in this file will come into picture. Over here you can see this property and test message, and over here we are assigning the property. So this test is the property, over here we are assigning. So complete flow is like this. In this TS file we have this property. We are using this property inside my init method, and to initialize it we are initializing it from the serve.json under this property. Apart from that, in this serve.json what we have certain files like page URL. So another very important point which I am going to tell you now is, in application customizer or in SharePoint extension, SharePoint framework extension, there is no concept of local workbench, there is no concept of SharePoint workbench. There is no concept of workbench in SharePoint extension. Workbench only exists for SPFX web part. So how we are going to test it? So to test it, you can see over here we have this page URL. So the moment I will run gulpsar, it will open this page. So over here by default you will get some predefined URL, but you have to change the URL whatever the page on which you want to test your web part. So I want to test my web part on this particular site, POC site pages SPFX web part.aspx. So let me open this site. So this is the page I am having. So this is the page which is there. On this page I am going to test this application customizer extension. So on whatever page you want to test your extension, just copy the URL and change it over here and here at two places under gulpsar.json, because to test the web part you will run gulpsar, and for gulpsar you have to change in the file serve.json under config folder. So at two places under default and under first application customizer, page URL and this page URL. This is done. Custom action, location and everything will remain the same. Over here if you want to change the property, so over here I have given the test message as test. Over here we will see let's say first application customizer. This is my property. So I have changed, and over here also I have to change. So I have to change at two places. Apart from that, there is not much in this file. You can see port number, HTTPS is true, page URL. So this is custom action ID we are having for this particular application customizer. Location, all these are by default value. Client side extension dot application customizer. For command set and for field customizer this will be different, and this is taken care by SharePoint automatically. We do not have to change anything over here. The only thing we have to change is the page URL and the property if you are using it. So now I will go forward and I will run gulpsar. So this is my command, and now it will open this particular page and we will see our application customizer on that particular page. I will wait for this command to run. So over here you can see the moment this gulpsar command gets completed, it automatically opens this page and it is giving us a message, allow debug scripts. So it opened a certain URL. It opened definitely it opened this page, but after that there's a query string. So what I will do, I will copy this URL and I will explain this URL also. So right now what I will say load debug scripts, and it has to give us a message. It is not giving, so let me just try refreshing the page, and otherwise I will check my code why. Okay, so now it is giving us a message alert, hello from first application customizer, and this is our property first application customizer. So this is how our application, how we can test our application customizer. Now as a next step, I will explain you this URL. I will open it in Notepad. So I think this URL consists of 3 pieces. Now first piece is this your page URL. Over here you can see this is your page URL which you have changed in the gulp.surf file. After that we have this debug manifest file over here. I will break it over here. After that we have this load SPFX true. Okay, it is not consist of 3 parts, it consists of more than that. After that I have this custom actions and this property. So wait, I will explain you one by one. So this is the simple page URL which you have supplied, which you have given in the config file. After that we have this debug manifest file. So over here you can see localhost manifest.js and under temporary folder. So this is the manifest file we have over here. I think I will go back under temp. We have this manifest.js. So it is using our manifest.json. So let me see which file it is using. It is using manifest.js. So in this manifest.js, I think it has all the values. So it got converted from our manifest file, existing manifest file. It has all the like version and my ID of the application customizer, all that. So it is there. After that load SPFX is equal to true and custom actions ID. I think this is all ID client side extension dot application customizer, and at the top important thing over here you can see this property test message, and this is first application customizer. Just see, this is the property also it is having inside the URL only. So from here only it is reading it. So if I go back to my file, and at the end if I change the value of this property, you could see the changes immediately. So let me just do it for you. So I will go to the end of this URL. So over here this is first application customizer. I'll say first application URL. Just I am supplying the random value. I'll press enter, and you can see first application URL. So this is how we can debug our SPFX application customizer. So what it will do, you have to at your end you have to simply change the URL in the config file. Under config file you have to change in this gulp.surf. So you need not to remember this file because the file name is coming from your command only. To debug your SPFX web part, wait, what I will do in this over here debug application customizer, I will write this file name also, this command name. So to debug application customizer, what I have to do, I have to run gulp.surf, and I will write the command for this deploy application customizer also. The moment you will run gulp.surf, you know that you have to change in the file surf.json, and in that you have to only change the page URL. So also if you want to change the properties. So I think from this agenda I have completed how you can create application customizer. Code, I have explained you the existing code very well. Code application customizer. Debug, I have explained you debug application customizer. Now I am left with the deployment part. So for the deployment purpose, before deployment what I will do, I will write a very basic and very simple code. Please do not consider it as a demo. I will create a demo separately. This is just to give you a few hands-on to few other classes, few other property which are very useful or which you are going to use very frequently while creating application customizer. So I will do a very simple basic code over here. So code application customizer involve explaining the existing code plus writing a small piece of code. So after this I will be completing these 3 parts and I will be left with the deployment. So after that I will take the deployment part. So now I'll start with the code. So what I will do, I will remove all the existing code from here. Everything I will remove, and what I will do as a part of this small code, what I will do, I will create one header and one footer over here. How? So now I will tell you how we can create a header and footer. So let's see. So friends, now we will see how we can create a custom header and a custom footer. So let's start over here. So as I told you that this is the method, this is the onInit method which will get triggered first. So we'll start our code from here. So what I will do, I will start with this dot context dot. So in SPFX web part we were using page context. Over here we have to use placeholder. So I'll type placeholder. So over here you can see placeholder provider. So guys, please note that as of today in modern SharePoint we are having two placeholder. One is the top and another is the bottom. In future Microsoft is going to add more placeholders so that we can customize our user experience. So over here we will see how we will use the two existing placeholder, that is the top placeholder and the bottom placeholder. So note this point. So we'll go with placeholder provider. This dot context dot placeholder provider dot, we'll see over here we have these methods: changed event, dispose is dispose, placeholder name, and try create content. So over here change event, play, and try create content. These are the two frequently used methods. So over here these are the two frequently used methods. So over here I will use change event. This dot change event dot add. Over here I want to add an event, and over here you can see it is giving me the intelligence observer, ISP event observer event handler. So over here what I have to do is I'll say this comma this dot custom header. So now what is my custom header? What I have to do, I have to over here create another method called custom header. I will create public method and I'll say custom header, and over here I have to make this as uppercase C, custom header. So this dot context dot placeholder provider dot change event dot add. So you can clearly see over here what we did. The moment my page will get load, onInit method will get triggered. This will say placeholder provider dot change event, and it will come to this method. Control will shift to this method public custom header, and over here now I will create my header. So I'll go with this dot context dot placeholder provider dot, and now after placeholder provider, as I told you, we are having change event, placeholder name, and try create content. So this time I will say placeholder names. Now placeholder names, inside this placeholder names, I think this is placeholder name is an array. So it is having all the names of the placeholder. You can see written the name of the currently available placeholder. You can see this is an array. So what it will do, it will return us the name of all the placeholders. So I'll say placeholder names dot map method. So those guys who are watching my videos regularly, by now they must be comfortable with this map method. So what we have to do, we have to use this bracket, another bracket, arrow function, and this is the format which we used for map method. Inside this I'll say placeholder names, and I will use placeholder name. This is my variable placeholder name. So what I will say, what I will do, just for your knowledge, over here I will say console.log. So I will show you what are the names available for me. Placeholder name, and inside this I'll say what I will do both the things. I will do console.log. I will do both the things. I will log console.log placeholder. Okay, so this is coming with this. So I'll say this dot context dot placeholder provider dot placeholder names. So I will show you this array also, and after that I will show you this console.log placeholder name, and inside this, if I have to get the placeholder name, I'll say placeholder. This is the property placeholder. So it is giving me an array because I have to use over here. This is the name of my placeholder. So placeholder name, I want placeholder name, and from where I want, this is placeholder. This is placeholder name. This is the array. You can see the identifier for a content placeholder, which is a region on the page where third-party extensibility component can render custom content. So this is my format. So what it will do, it will give me the name of the placeholder. So this is one thing. Another thing is what I will do. I will now this time I will use another method. This dot context dot placeholder provider dot. Now I have used changed event. I have used placeholder name, and the last time, this is the most important method, that is the try create content. Uses this method, I will create the custom header. So I'll say try create content. Inside this you can see name, placeholder name. It is saying I have to provide the placeholder name. So the name of my placeholder is, I will use this property placeholder name dot top. I want to create the top placeholder. This is the placeholder name over here which you saw, placeholder name dot top, and inside this what I have to do, dot dom. Over you can see dot dom element dot inner HTML equal to, and over here I have to provide my HTML for my header. So this is very simple. I will explain you once again what I did. Whenever my page will get load, my init will get triggered. Now this dot context dot placeholder provider dot changed event, it will call this method custom header. Inside the custom header, what I am saying is, for now just forget this. This is the code which I shared with you just for your knowledge. If I want to create the custom header, what I will do, this dot context dot placeholder provider dot try create content is the method. Inside this I have to provide the name, that is placeholder name dot top and dot dom element dot inner HTML. This is what I did. Using this method placeholder names dot map, I will show you the existing placeholder on the page. So over here I have to provide the inner HTML. So I will give it over here only. What I will say, what I will do, I'll say div. Okay, and inside this div I will say custom top header. This is my custom top header. This is my custom top header, and inside this div I will just provide some styling for this div. So I'll say I will use this style tag, style is equal to single quotes. Inside this I will say background color. I have to just make sure that I don't make any typo mistake. Background color I will provide coral, and height I will say 50px. Height 50px. So for now I think it should work, and in case we face any issue we will see. So for now what I will do, so now I will run the gubserve command and we will test it. If it will give us some issue, then we will rectify that issue. We will see like what is the cause of that particular issue. It is opening that page, and over here I can see load debug scripts, and over here I am not getting any message because we have already removed the dialog message, and I cannot see my custom header as well. So I will press F12. I will try to check if there is something in the log. No. Now next we will see, we will test our web part, how we can test it. So if I go to the agenda, over here we have this debug and test. So let's see how we can test our web part. So guys, please watch carefully how we can test. You just, when you press F12, go to sources. After running your command gubserve in your browser, go to sources and come under this webpack. You can see this webpack. Come under this, expand this folder, and over here you can see this source. Open this, and this is my code, first application customizer.ts, and over here we'll see if we are facing any issue. So what I will do, I will put some breakpoint over here, and I will put one breakpoint over here. So over here I can directly see my error. See, this command I have written after my return promise statement. So I have to go back and I have to change it. This is the mistake which I have made. This is the mistake which I saw, and over here I didn't notice this gray color because it was showing unreachable code. It was showing unreachable code, and now you can see, I think it should work now. At least it will give us some error if any. Before that it was a unreachable code. So now this is fine. Now it gave me a reload message. I will go back, I will refresh. Now I will close it, otherwise debug statement will get hit. And guys, you can see we are not facing any issue, and you at the top you can see this custom top header. So guys, we have successfully created our custom top header using application customizer extension. Now before proceeding further, I will show you the logging which I have did for you, just to explain you in a better way. So over here you can see this is the array, two array. I told you there are only at the moment there are only two placeholder, top and bottom, and you can see top array, bottom. This is the array, and this is the logging which we did over here. Placeholder dot name, this is the name of my placeholder, and in this console.log, this dot context dot placeholder names top bottom, and this is console.log placeholder name. Right now this is how, this is the array. This is the first logging which is giving me, this is the first logging which is giving me that we have an array. It is having two values, that it is having a length 2 over here, this dot context dot placeholder name, and inside you can see this is the first logging. Now it is showing me that it is an array of which is of its length is 2. I use the map method to get the value inside it. So inside this, now this is the value how I am getting it, placeholder name, and inside this placeholder name. This is the property, by default property we have. So top is the name, bottom is the name. Over here I've used top. If you are not using the correct name, then it will give you an error. And as a next step, I've used try create content placeholder name dot top, and I provided the inner HTML for that particular div. So this is how we can create the custom header. Now we will go and create the custom footer. It is very similar. So guys, to create the footer, what I will do, I will use the same code. Over here you can see I will use the same code. I will simply copy this bracket belongs to here. Okay, fine. And I will paste this code. Instead of top, what I will use, placeholder name dot, I want to create the bottom, done. And I will change the color. Over here I will use aqua. Height is same, custom bottom footer, custom footer I will say, and it will work now. Just wait for the reload message. So guys, this is how we will use application customizer. So I have already covered everything about I have covered all the basics of the application customizer. So I got the reload message. I will refresh it, and you can see I got the custom footer. So this is how we can create the custom header, custom footer in our application customizer. So if I go back to my slide, I have covered create application customizer, code application customizer. Now I have completely covered it. Debug, I have covered it, how you can debug, run gulp, and I also told you if you want to test your code. So debug I have covered. Now if you want to test your code, how you can test it, simply run gulp and make sure that it is running in the background. Press F12, go to the sources. I have explained this in my SPFX web part also, but again I am telling you, come down, go to this webpack, expand it, expand this folder, then expand this this. Now over here you can see your solution structure. Go to the source folder, and over here you can clearly see your TypeScript code, TS file. So this is your TypeScript file. Over here if I want to show you, I will press F12. First of all, my init method will get triggered. You can see now this is inside my init method. As I told you, init method got triggered. Now if I'll press this debugger, now it is hitting my change event method is hitting to my custom header, and inside this all my code getting executed. So guys, this is how I covered create application customizer. Code I covered basic code. This is how you can debug your application customizer. I explained you how you can test it using gulp. I explained you the URL. I explained you how you can test your code, test your debug point in your browser. Now we are left with deploy application customizer. So for the deployment of the application customizer, we will use this command gulp build -, ship, gulp bundle -, ship, gulp package app and solution -, ship. So these are the command which we will use to deploy our application customizer. So over here I will cover some few basic concepts over here. So what if I will not use this -, ship command? So there are two things. If I will not use -, ship, what will happen? The assets of my application customizer will not get packaged inside my sppkg file, and they will get hosted from the local host, and for that my gulp should be running for the application customizer to work. If I will use this -, ship command, my application customizer assets will get hosted from Office 365 CDN. These are two concepts which I will show you. Another thing is there are two types of deployment: tenant wide deployment, site collection scope deployment. If I want to deploy my extension, that is my header and footer, to all the site collections, I will use tenant wide deployment, and in that case over here you can see there are two files under SharePoint assets folder: client side instance.xml, element.xml. So for site tenant wide scope deployment, client side instance.xml will come into picture. In this file I have all the same things: title, location, component ID, and properties. Property I told you, this dot properties I have to use. When I use gulp, I have to change the properties over here in this properties. If I while deploying my application customizer extension, if I am deploying it tenant wide deployment, this file will come into picture, client side instance.xml. And if I am deploying my extensions for a single site collection, then I have to use this particular file, that is element.xml. So this is one concept over here. In fact I have mentioned it over here also: client side instance.xml and element.xml. So these are the two files. So in short, these are the concepts: hosting your assets from the local host, hosting your assets from the Office 365 CDN, tenant wide deployment, and site collection scope deployment. So let's start in the hands-on one by one. So now what I will do, this is my extension. So what I will do, I will run this command gulp build. I will not use hyphen ship. And also, okay, so gulp build is completed. I will also open app catalog over here. So this is my app catalog site. So now this is my app catalog site. So what I will do, gulp build is fine. Then I will run gulp bundle, and at last I will run gulp package hyphen solution. So we are covering the first scenario. This is bundling process is going on, and at last I will run gulp package hyphen solution. The moment I will use gulp package hyphen solution, this particular file will come into picture under config folder, you can see. And in this over here, there are few important points to note. There are some details about my name, ID, version. If I have to increase the version, I have to do it over here. Include client side assets true. Is domain isolated false. This is my feature is creating title, description, ID. Over here you can see element manifest file. So over here both the files are mentioned, element.xml, client side instance.xml, and I will remove this hyphen ship because I want to cover the first scenario. So I think it should work now. Yes, it is working. So I have got the package, I have got the file. This is my SharePoint solution, and this is my file code.sppkg file. You can see 26.9.14.54. So I will upload this file in my app catalog. This is my app catalog. So over here, just note one important thing. The moment I upload it, see, this client side solution will get content from the following domain. Over here you can see localhost 4321. So if I deploy this solution and I will add it on any site collection, this gulp serve should be running. If gulp serve is not running, my application customizer will not work. The same I have demonstrated in my SPFX web part also. So I will cancel it. I don't want to upload it. So what I will do, I will go back, and now I will run this. So I have covered the first scenario without ship. Now I will use my ship command, hyphen ship. So this is also done, and last is gulp package hyphen solution hyphen ship. Gulp build is same, okay, and this I think I am getting error because I've used single slash. I think it's sorry gulp. I think I have to give the space. Yes, this is, please be careful, there is a space between gulp after this build and hyphen there is a space, otherwise it will give us an error because it is saying it is not defined in this gulp file.js. So please be careful. Okay, so our package is ready. We'll go back. This is a file, application customizer. I will upload it in my app catalog. I will just drag and drop. I'll say replace it because I have not deployed it, and this time you will see a change. See, the client side solution will get content from the following domain: SharePoint Online. Asset will get hosted in Office 365 CDN by default. You do not have to make any changes from your end. So I'll click on deploy, and we have used this element.xml. Over here, if you will not remove this file from here, it will not impact anything. If you will remove it, will then also it will not impact anything. Just be careful, do not from here, just be careful, do not remove the wrong file. You can keep both the files, no issues with that. So now let's see, this is my file code. What I will do, it is saying no errors, and it is tenant deployed node because scope is site collection app catalog. Okay, so over here now I will go and check in the file. So this is fine. Now I will go and add this in my, let me go to this file. I will close all the other tabs. I will say add an app. I have to check the name of my application customizer. Code client side solution is the name a few seconds ago. So I'll search for it, code. Now I have to go in whichever site collection I want to add. I want to go and add manually. If I use tenant wide deployment, I do not need to perform this step. Automatically it will get deployed to the entire tenant. So over here it will show you that deployment is in process. So it will take some time. and you can see it got deployed and we got our custom header and footer. You can see no gulp service running and it is permanently deployed to my POC site. That is pretty simple. If tomorrow if I make any changes, what I have to do, I have to just go to the package-solution, upgrade the version and redeploy it again, or else I have to delete it from the app catalog recycle bin, site collection recycle bin. So this is done. The only thing remaining is how my code will decide whether it want to use element.xml or client-side instance.xml, how it will come to know that it is a tenant-wide deployment or site collection-wide deployment. So that is because of one simple parameter I will show you. So over here you can see both the files are mentioned, element.xml and client-side.instance.xml. How it will decide? Over here you can see if I use this property skip feature deployment, you can see if true, allow the tenant admin the choice of being able to deploy the component to all the sites immediately without running any feature deployment. If I'll say skip feature deployment is true, then my client-side instance.xml file will come into picture and my application customizer or my extension will get deployed to the entire tenant. And if it is false, then it will take element.xml. So you can keep both the files included over here. So I will add the same over here also, tenant-wide deployment, client-side instance.xml, skip feature deployment to true, skip feature deployment to true in package-solution file under config folder. That's it. You have to just I will not do the tenant-wide deployment over here, otherwise it will get deployed to all entire tenant. So what I will do, I will you have to just make one change, just make it true, and automatically it will take client-side instance.xml. So this is fine. And another thing is, in my app catalog I have, if you go to site contents, for tenant-wide deployment I have this tenant-wide extension list. You can control those extension over here. I have this extension which got deployed. If I edit properties over here, edit item, I will show you what all properties give me. Over here you can see the component properties I can change or enable and disable. Let's say if I've deployed one header and footer to the entire tenant, if I in future I want to disable it, I have disabled it, so you can just select it. So this is one list, tenant-wide extension list in app catalog. This is also I will mention, you can control. This is again I can mention tenant-wide extension list in app catalog for controlling tenant-wide extension. So guys, that's it from my end for today's video. At last I will just cover the deployment again, deployment concepts again. So with deployment, what is there? If you want to deploy a customizer in normal scenario, just use these three commands. Be careful to use space between this gulp build and space -FN ship. So if you will use this command, you will just deploy your extension, upload the sppkj file in the app catalog, and then add an app in whichever site collection you want to add, and it will run. If you will remove this -FN ship, then your assets will get hosted from the local host. Another thing is, in your package-solution file, if this property is not present, by default it is false. But if you want, then it is it will come under site collection scope deployment, and automatically this file will come into picture. If you specifically want tenant-wide deployment, then include this property, skip feature deployment, make it as true. Your extension will automatically got deployed to the tenant-wide, to the entire tenant, and it will get present in this particular list, that is tenant-wide extension list, which is present in your app catalog. So this is all about the application customizer extension. So guys, that's it for today's video. If you like these videos, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get notification for our upcoming videos. If you have any doubts regarding this video or any of your previous video, you can reach out to us through our official email ID, that is contact@dstechmirror@gmail.com. I have created a group on Facebook, Modern SharePoint. You can join that group and we can discuss our queries or any update over there also. This is my Twitter handle. You can follow me on Twitter to get all the updates from the Office 365 world. Till our next video, much love, keep learning. Thank you.